It is common for people who become collapse-aware to go through some tough times mentally and emotionally. Contemplating the loss of our civilization as we have known it, of our friendly climate and of the ecosystems that sustain us, these are not nice things, and thinking about them and about the suffering they portend for so many can really bring you down. Over the years that I've been writing and speaking on these issues, I've realized there are both healthy and unhealthy ways to deal with this challenge. Among the unhealthy ways of relating to collapse, there are two quite distinct ones that stand out. First off, and this is kind of obvious, there are the denialists. These are people who simply refuse to acknowledge the information they've got, but who nevertheless can't escape the anxiety and cognitive dissonance that the information creates for them. So they put on a false optimism, deny that there are any problems that smart people somewhere aren't going to fix, and repress their very real fears. This is not a sustainable state of affairs psychologically, because false optimism is really a denial of hope, and when the happy mask gets torn away by events, it leaves behind only despair. The other type are the ones who make a fetish of collapse, who eagerly embrace the darkest prognostications, treating the worst possible outcomes as though they were the most probable or even certain. These are people who are likewise threatened by uncertainty, and so like the first type they try to escape their fears and cognitive dissonance, in this case by adopting a maudlin fatalism and proclaiming loudly and at every opportunity that all is already lost. This, too, is a denial of hope. Hope is not the same as hopium. Hope is not pretending that things are all right when they're not. Hope is not choosing to believe that something one desires to be true is true in defiance of evidence to the contrary. Hope is not grasping at slender chances. Genuine hope is an attitude both of acceptance and of defiance. Genuine hope assents to such facts as can be known and allows for every possible outcome, including the worst ones. But hope is defiant in this: it insists on being rooted in the now, the eternal now, with all its ever-present fullness and possibility. Another characteristic of real hope is that it allows you to grieve. Hope is not easy, which is why it was traditionally included among the virtues. I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't let collapse get you down, and I'm going to share now what I believe are some of the chief reasons why you shouldn't. First, it's civilization that is collapsing, not you. Human beings are instinctively sympathetic, and so when we see something bad happening, we tend to feel it within ourselves as though it were our own event, rather than something to which we are really just a witness. Your own collapse will come in due time, because you are a mortal creature and death is inseparable from life, but that's something different from the collapse of civilization. You, of course, can't be unaffected, but your own possibilities in the present moment remain incalculable, regardless of the events unfolding in the broader world. Second, collapse is not an event. It's a process. We humans have a great passion and instinct for drama, and nothing captures our imagination like a dramatic event, an explosion or outburst or some sudden violence. But collapse is generally not like that. Collapse is a process, and it can take a long time. The death of a civilization is a little like the death of a person in this respect. We tend to think of a person's death as a dramatic event, but if you've ever been with someone as they died from natural causes, you discovered that death is a process, with many stages, and it can take a long time. In the case of a person, the dying may be measured in weeks or even months. In the case of a civilization, the process can span many years, even generations. So, you can afford to let the tension out of your shoulders and take a breath. Third, collapse is not a tragedy. Everything dies, nothing is permanent, and civilizations are no exception. We tend to celebrate births and mourn deaths, but we must never forget that each makes the other possible. The end is in the beginning. Birth and death cohere. So in this sense, endings too should be celebrated as completions of the circle, heralding new beginnings. In the case of ecosystems, this is known as the adaptive cycle, and it is what has made possible the vast and various menageries of life, ever changing across the ages of time. By analogy, the cycle of civilizations, from the first villages to the first global village, has spawned fantastic cultures across the millennia, each made possible by the life and death of those that came before. Ours can be no different. Species live and die, too. They develop and differentiate, and then someday, one way or another, they go extinct. No species is a permanent part of the planet, ours included. Still, though, let's not fritter away the hours trying to write our own obituary. It's poor taste to write your own death notice, you know. Fourthly, the collapse of our civilization isn't in the future. It began a while back, and we may well be right on the cusp of some of the most dramatic events. So quit worrying about whether collapse is just around the next corner. A glance at the rearview mirror shows that a lot of it is already behind us. This fact has a couple of consequences you want to keep in mind. To begin with, this is an extraordinary time to be alive. We are witnessing perhaps the biggest event in human history, the crash and wreck of industrial civilization. So butter some popcorn and pull up a chair. You might want to take notes or keep a journal. It is the greatest spectacle ever. Even more amazingly, the fact that collapse is already underway means that you are present at the precise moment that the elements of the next civilization are being forged. Every ending opens the space for renewal. Our parents enjoyed the privilege of being young when industrial civilization peaked, but for that very reason, they weren't free to create the next world. You have the freedom to begin that project, a project others will finish, working with the material you leave to them. Finally, with each passing hour that the present system continues, burning vast quantities of fuel and despoiling the earth and its inhabitants, the damage that is done continually reduces and narrows the possible pathways that the Earth system can take to recovery. If this civilization were actually able to continue business as usual for very much longer, all might permanently be lost. Let it be a source of joy to know that business as usual has already reached its end, and let us sigh with relief when the news reaches us that the industrial and financial systems are breaking down. Governments will fall, populations will be in want, and panic will sometimes reign. Yet those upheavals, and there will be many, those are the reprieve, the commutation of our sentence from final doom to a mere forfeiture of assets. There's a lyric from an old Neil Young song, "Don't let it bring you down, it's only castles burning." That was prescient. It also hinted at a broader context that most people seem to have forgotten. Human life has always been a very dicey proposition. Honestly, being alive has always been dangerous as hell. If it wasn't famine, it was floods, or droughts, or plagues, or volcanoes, or invasions. We're here today not because our ancestors didn't face the risk of annihilation. They faced it most of the time. We're here because they beat some pretty shitty odds through perseverance and just sheer cussedness. Their babies were often born on the run, under the shadow of looming disaster, with little enough reason to hope for a bright future. Yet here you are, with all their bequests. Let your chest expand, your heart be open, your eyes lifted. This is your time. Don't let collapse get you down. It's not about you. Whatever hardships you face are the fire in which you will forge your life and fashion your own bequests. In the meantime, if you get overwhelmed, let someone know. Don't be strong and silent when you are in pain. Reach out. Someone is ready to help you, and they probably could use your help too. If you are in turmoil or extremely sad or contemplating suicide, please use the links in the description for this video. Wherever you live, the Americas, Europe, Asia, Australia or New Zealand or elsewhere, there are links here that you can use to get help right now. Before I let you go, know that I made this video first for a reason. The other videos in this series introduce topics that, well, they can really throw you hard if it's the first time you've been exposed to them. So as you're watching through, come back occasionally to this video and watch it again, just to help you keep a good perspective. And thank you for watching.